Hey there guys, and I've got a new game for you. This is Soul Blazer. So I'm going to let the story thing play, and then I'll go and describe some parts about this game, while I go through the intro sort of stuff. But the thing you need to know is I'm playing the Europe version of this game, which is apparently in 1993. I believe the Japanese release was 1992. And the Japanese release was called Soul Blazer for some reason. I think we got the better name there, but yeah. So here's the story, little recap thing. It's a pretty basic thing, but at least they included it. Now, this is a kind of this was one of the first SNES sort of action RPGs. Well, maybe not the first, but it was in the first sort of year. So it has a fairly simple story. Some of these characters you will meet later on, but generally this isn't really too necessary. But there's one thing you got to know is that there's two mistranslated things in this part, and I'll get to them when they actually mention them. Don't think they have yet. But the music is simple, yet it's quite catchy at points, so you know, there is that as well. Now, I can't remember if we see these later on or not, or if this is just a little bit of a text intro to the game. Yes, here we are. Death Toll here. You'll notice that this is a mistranslation because this is supposed to be Dark Gaia, as it was in the Japanese release. That'll be more important for games I do after this, and I'll get into that in a second as well. So yes, Death Toll is essentially Dark Gaia. Now, if we have a Dark Gaia, we've also got to have a Good Gaia, and this game calls the Good Gaia, or just Gaia, the Master, which we never actually see in this game. So there's an overview, and yes, it mentions the Master. And I am basically like an angel thing. Now, this game was made by Quintet, and this was only their second game. So one of the things is it has a lot of similarities to their first game, which was ActRaiser, which was a really, really great game. And I like how they completely capitalized Soul Blazer here. So I am essentially taking the role of an angel. Kinda like ActRaiser. Except that I don't have like a cherub fucking angel there. Now this should be it. That should be the end of the intro, and I can start describing why I'm doing this game. Soul Blazer is... Yes, I think Enix published all their games during their SNES days. And is my controller not working? I think my controller's not working. I will be right back. Okay guys, I should be back, and my controller should be working, so you gotta watch this little intro with the sword again, and then I can press start. Lovely, it works. So you actually get 4 save slots, which is interesting. I don't like it when games only give you 1, so 4. That's kind of good, right? And here we see our character, and we get to choose a name. Just like in ActRaiser, we get to choose a name. I'm going to be extremely unoriginal because I don't feel like being creative right now, and I will just call myself Kelsper. BS is not bullshit, by the way. It is backspace, as you can see. If only you could have BS in your name. Oh well, you can have numbers, I guess. Yeah, that's it. I like how they put a comma and then like fucking 7. Wait, that's 7 dots, yeah. That doesn't even work. And yeah, the translation is a lot rough around the edges. I'm playing the Europe version, so I don't know if it's different, but it isn't 2. I'm pretty sure they don't have 2 L's in alright. So here's the game, and here we get to the first room. Here you can, alright, well that's the status screen, and we can also pause, and it says monster wares remaining, and there's an R button that does that. And I can't really do much now except for doing the stupidest walk cycle ever. And I'll tell you more about that in a second. It's pretty good though. So in this chest there was a sword, but you've got to equip the sword. So you get strength from there. Now I believe if you pause the game... No, it's not pausing the game. Ah, it's the other thing. Yes, you could look at your strength and it would have got 1 strength up because I equipped the sword. So you can do 2 attacks. You can hold the sword out in front of you, which enemies will take damage if they walk into you, but it's not that useful. The thing is though that these swords have a weapon requirement. This one's level 1 already, obviously. I was going to say 0, but no. This one's level 1, obviously, so you can use it right away. But if you're not the correct level, as in if you were level 0, you would only be able to hold the sword out instead of actually swinging it. Right, time to kill these guys. So the combat is quite a bit like Gauntlet, actually, if I'm going to say something. There's monster layers, they're very common to generators in Gauntlet, and monsters keep spawning out of it. The thing is, they stop after a predetermined amount. They just don't come out indefinitely, and you can seal them by stepping on them after. And you see this guy appeared when I done this. And death toll is Dark Gaia, remember that. Because, and here's my announcement, I'm going to be doing Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, the sequel, and Terranigma, the sequel to that. And it's basically known as the Gaia trilogy by Quintet. And yeah, let me tell you something, Soul Blazer is really fun. It already looks like a decent action RPG, you know. It's pretty fun, though simple, but you kind of get that because it's an early sort of SNES game. And yeah, I'm talking over this guy, but you know. And Illusion of Gaia is kind of more story based. The thing I don't like about Illusion of Gaia is the dungeons are fucking insane, so I'll probably need to have a guide open for that. It's a nightmare sometimes, but the game itself is pretty good, but it's just the dungeons, man. I just don't get it. And Terranigma is one of the best RPGs on the SNES. I would say the best, and yes, I know, Chrono Trigger. I know Chrono Trigger, okay? But bear with me if you've not seen the game, because it's really damn good. And some of you may not agree and say Chrono Trigger's better, but you know, it's a good game, and I don't think anyone can deny that. So you equip the Flameboy magic here. You notice we have space for items as well, but we have no items. So the magic in this game works like this. You can, the orb around you will constantly rotate, and one of the buttons will fire off a fireball. The thing is, this takes 4 gems. So I could go and put a fireball if I wanted to do it in the down direction by moving down right before I hit it. But now I have no gems, so I can't cast magic. Also, I can record, which is basically saving. I like how it gives you a bit of encouragement. Anyway, there was also a 4th game for the PS1 that I'm trying to play right now. It looks okay, but it's one of those early PS1 RPGs that had the graphics are like terrible on. I'm gonna try it because I've heard good things about it, and I might do that in the future. I don't know. I'll need to play it a little more. The game's name is the Grand Stream Saga, by the way. I had to remember that. So we have our first area, our desolate looking place with nothing in it apart from this. And yes, we just talked to a plant. I just skipped over that. So we get to the first dungeon sort of place, which is called, and I hit the wrong button, we're in Underground Castle, and I got hit. So the palace place, or wherever we were before, the place that the master was talking to us in, when you go in there, it will actually heal you completely, which is nice. So that's basically the place you go to heal. Now, when you step on these sealed areas, they can open up new terrain and stuff like that. So here I'll show you how you can use the hold your sword out in front of you and walk backwards technique. It can sometimes be effective, but usually not past early into the game. Though if you can't use a sword, it is quite an effective way of gaining levels with that sword if it's a powerful sword. So, the one thing about this game is when you release these monster things, souls come out sometimes. If you release a soul, you gain 1 HP back, by the way, as I just got it back. And yeah, this reminds me of Dark Cloud, although Dark Cloud would have obviously taken it from this game, where you can restore souls and stuff like that. So I think that's maybe where it got it from. It's pretty interesting, because obviously you can miss some, and some are completely necessary. So if you don't get the necessary one, well, you gotta go all the way through. But there are some that are just there for extra items or just to talk to people with. Now, yes, we got a chest here. Okay, I think I've explained most of this game because it's relatively simple and I done that by accident. So, items. Yes, here I got a medical herb. This is a really useful item. Basically, you won't die. You'll get a new health bar. It's a relatively nice item, and you can restock up on them later. So, of course, I forgot to mention that you do get gems from enemies, and if you do use that hold sword out attack, then you do actually get they pull the gems in towards you with telekinesis or whatever the fuck you're using. But of course, it does encourage you to kill every monster lair or seal every monster lair because you get the most people back because of it, or whatever, souls, whatever. Now these flames can be relatively annoying, and they use alright with 2 L's. Like, what the hell, man? Yeah, those flames can be annoying, but you just dodge them and they're fine. So the thing here is a fairy, who also gives you some XP. And asks if you want to be teleported back to the beginning of the dungeon. I don't really want to, so I'm going to continue on. Oh, these fucking slime enemies. Okay, I was being stupid there and got hit twice. Okay, those enemies, I will tell you about the technique, is that you will do more damage if... You can see that your sword has an arc from left to right, but you will do the most damage when you're at the right, when the enemy is to the right of you. Like, if I just waited here, you'll see I'll do a lot more damage, just because my sword is, like, on the right there. I find it hard to explain this, but yeah, that's something you gotta be aware of, is that your sword will do more damage if you do attack like this. Which is a little strange, but oh well. You'll get used to it when you know the fact. So that's why I'm going to try and keep everything to the right of me, if I can. Because I do a lot more damage that way. Well, maybe not a lot more, but enough to warrant doing that. And, yeah, chests can also drop gems, which is nice. You'll notice I'm getting EXP steadily here, and I need 100 for the first level or whatever. Well, second level, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know how many of you guys have played this. I think the series is kind of obscure. I know a lot more people might have heard of Terranigma, but I don't know how many have heard of Illusion of Gaia and Soul Blazer. But yeah, they're really enjoyable games, and I plan to do all 3 of them, because they are that enjoyable. This one does get a little boring near the end, but I kind of blitzed it when I was playing, so if I'm recording videos of it, it shouldn't be too bad. You get a break every so often, you know. So yes, the elevator. we cannot pass into the next part of the underground castle because the elevator is broken. So we're gonna need to fix that. Okay, these enemies are annoying because they have ranged attacks, but there's an easy way to deal with them. Just guide them into shooting and then just, you know, whack them on the right side. Easy. So I don't know how many of you have played this game. I think it's pretty good. It's relatively simple, you know, and easy to get used to, which is why I kind of like it. Illusion of Gaia is a lot more complicated, but we'll get to that. And the game length, maybe I should talk about that. There's 6 areas as I recall, and the game in total should last you about 10 hours? 10 hours? I don't know. You could probably do it faster if you speedrun it, but I like to get everything. There are some points where you can backtrack. So yeah, I would say about 10 hours, which is a decent length. And I think I'm going to level up soon. Yeah, these bees are kind of annoying. Any flying enemy in this game is kind of annoying. But I'll make sure to get most of the gems. Ooh. Yes, there's an item here that is very, very necessary for the next part, so make sure you get this. It is the Dream Rod. And it is an item that you can use, but we will get to that. Right. You gotta love the music though, it's so like funky but simple. Anyway, right, so how are we doing for monster wares now? We got 5 remaining. We can get one of them on this, it's impossible to get one of these right now, so yeah. Also, notice all monster wares are not just one enemy at a time, some of them just constantly spawn enemies. As you can see in there, just all those things running about. Or are those even plants, I assume? And that should do it. Usually there won't be too many enemies, but some just last forever, especially with the more annoying enemies as well. Like there's one I was whacking away for that had like 12 enemies, I think. Took forever. Especially when the enemies have invulnerability during certain moments and stuff like that. And yes, they do switch it up a bit, but we'll get to that. Right now we're just freeing the city. Or attempting to. That ivy is pretty important because you do get your first armor from it, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. When you go back to town. Right, okay, let's go down this conveyor belt. Yes, they put conveyor belts and sometimes they just put you in the wrong goddamn place. Maybe I should just whack from here. Yeah. The enemy AI is kind of dumb, but honestly, I'm glad for it because some of the enemies can be brutal. Okay. And I think that's taken us back to the start, but there's one important thing we need to do before the end, and that is get this last one. Yeah, the blue slime enemies that don't belong to a lair, they'll just keep respawning every time you come in here. Some enemies are like that. But generally, when you seal all the monster wares, an area becomes much less less of a threat once you go back in. Yes, the water mill. We need to turn it on because the elevator will not work. And since you're a sort of deity thing, I think you can fucking talk to the elevator. And it appears that enemies respawn also during when you go back from the cutscene, which is annoying. We need to turn the water mill on. It figures. Okay, so we're going back this way. Doop, 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 very slowly. And I think I'm going to grab that armor, and that should make for a good first video. So tell me guys what you think about the game, if you've not seen it before, if you have any memories of yourself playing it. What do you think about me doing all 3 games? I hope to do them all. Not sure about the 4th one, I'll need to play that a little bit more. If I was damaged, I could show you that I do take, when I do go back in, it is restored, when I go back to the Master's Palace or whatever. So I will ignore everyone else I can talk to, and yeah, the animations can be lazy in points like this. Oh well. You'll notice the sound effects are actually taken from ActRaiser, I believe. You got iron armor and gems. The only real important one I want there is the iron armor. And this fairy will also give us some XP, so I will obviously take that. That was a decent amount. Don't think she said anything else, so yeah. So I'm gonna go to the place and I'm gonna go save. And I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Soul Blazer. Yeah, this guy moves automatically now. So this is kind of awkward to control with the PS3 controller, but I should get used to it. Doop doop. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. And let's click no. There's still much to be done. And off I go into the main menu, I assume. Or is it just waiting? Huh. I never actually selected this option before. It looks like it just waits for you to turn off your SNES. That's kind of nice, actually. Oh well, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys look forward to the next episode of Soul Blazer.